to go back on the recording. Sorry about that, everyone. Sister Marissa brought up a great point, though, that I did not realize this before, that sometimes this word humble can actually mean rape. I had no idea that it can have that type of context. Okay, so the Genesis 34 verse 2 says Shechem. Okay, so Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hivite. Okay, so a certain tribe of the lineage of Canaan. Prince of the country, so he's a prince, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. Okay, so the King James has defiled for humbled. So they make it, at least, the King James makes it at least a little bit distinct what type of humble. All right, so I guess we can get back to the study here. I'm going to see what we're going to do here, whether we're going to continue into Genesis 28 or if we're going to...
Are you recording, Doug?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on mute.
Oh, no problem. All right, let me just see here. Genesis 28 is actually kind of short. So if Sister Marissa, if you would like to take the lead.
Okay, I'll read it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to read from the Hallelujah scripture. Sorry, guys. That's pretty much what I read. Okay,
no problem.
Genesis 28. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, and Yitzhak called Yaakov and barak him and commanded him and said to him, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padam Aram, which is Turkey today, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife for yourself from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And El Shaddai barak you. Sorry about that, El Shaddai. And make you bear fruit and increase you, and you shall become an assembly of peoples, and give you the barakah of Abraham to you and your seed with you, so that you inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim, sorry about that, gave to Abraham. So Yitzhak sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padam Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rivkah, the mother of Yaakov and Esau. And Esau saw that Yitzhak had barak Yaakov and sent him away to Padam Aram to take himself a wife from there. And that as he barak him, he gave him a command, saying, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. And that Yaakov had obeyed his father and his mother, and had gone to Padam Aram. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Yitzhak, and Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebayot, to be his wife, besides the wives he had. And Yaakov went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he came upon a place and stopped over for the night, for the sun was down. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head, and he laid down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed and saw a ladder standing on the earth, and its top reached to the Shamayim, and saw messengers of Elohim going up and coming down on it. And see, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh stood above it and said, I am Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, Elohim of Abraham your father, and the Elohim of Yitzhak. The land on which you are lying, I give it to you and your seed. And your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall break forth to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. And all the clans of the earth shall be Baruch in you and in your seed. And see, I am with you, and shall guard you wherever you go, and shall bring you back to this land. For I am not going to leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. And Yaakov awoke from his sleep and said, truly Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of the Shamayim. And Yaakov rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put his head, put it up as a standing column, and put oil on top of it. And he called the name of the place Beit El. However, the name of that city has been called Luz previously. And Yaakov made a vow, saying, seeing Elohim is with me and has kept me in this way that I am going, and has given me bread to eat and a garment to put on. When I return to my father's house in peace, and Yod-Heh shall be my Elohim, then this stone which I have placed as a standing column shall be Elohim's house, and of all that you give me, I shall certainly give a tenth to you.
Wow. So this is known as, from my upbringing, I always knew this chapter as the Jacob's Ladder chapter. And this is always an interesting one. I noticed like some weird differences in between the Masoretic from the Hallelujah scriptures and the Septuagint, especially where he was going. There's a difference between Padan Aram versus Mesopotamia of Syria. It's kind of interesting because Mesopotamia's, I think, let me try to look into the Strongs here. I think Mesopotamia might have actually even been Babylon or Shinar, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, do they even have it there? No, it's of Hebrew origin, so that's not going to show anything, I guess. Let's see, Syria. There's nothing for Syria either, which is weird. But that's one of the differences I saw. It says instead of Padan Aram, like Sister Marissa was reading verse 7, the Septuagint here says he went to Mesopotamia of Syria. One of the other things, too, I've noticed that Al Shaddai is not even there. In the Septuagint, it actually says my Elohim instead of Al Shaddai. So I kind of...
Yeah, this is the Hallelujah scriptures, there's a lot of conflict with that. But, yeah.
So it says in verse 3 in the Septuagint, and may my Elohim, or Al, barak you. So that's kind of interesting that a lot of the times where it says El Shaddai in the Masoretic text, it'll actually say my Elohim in the Septuagint. So it's kind of interesting.
So Padan Aram is not Turkey today?
According to what the Septuagint is saying, I don't even see the word Padan Aram there. Let me see, Padan Aram, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to that in the Masoretic. Where is it? Verse 3. Let's see. I think it might be
verse 2.
Verse 2. Yeah, because every time it says Padan Aram in the Masoretic, it says Mesopotamia. Yeah, region of Syria.
Okay.
Padan Aram just says a region of Syria.
Turkey's not in Syria, right? Turkey is Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey is Turkey. Turkey is completely separate from Assyria. From what I've heard of, is Syria or the Syrians was originally Assyria or Ashur. So it would have been somewhere wherever Ashur was, which according to Genesis 10 would have been from Shinar, aka Babylon, because it says here in either version you could get it. In Genesis 10:8-9, he was a mighty hunter, the Masoretic text says, before Yahuwah, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahuwah, in the beginning of his kingdom was Babal, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. Verse 11, out of that land, meaning out of the land of Shinar, went forth Ashur, Assyria, and builded Nineveh and the city Rehoboth and Calah. So if Ashur is Assyria and Padan Aram is a region of Syria, this probably would be pretty close to Babylon, which I heard that's why they use Mesopotamia there in the Septuagint. Mesopotamia is like another word for that region of like Shinar, Babylon.
Okay, Doug, can you look up on verse 19.
Look up what?
Luz, L-U-E, is a reference verse.
Hold on. You broke up for a second. What did you want me to look up?
Verse 19, it talks about L in Spanish is light, but it's saying that word L-U-Z in verse 19 is reference to the Virgin Mary.
Nah, Luz just means a place in Palestine, and they're probably referring to the land of what we know as Yashrael right now, the state of Israel. Palestine, the name of the two places in Palestine, that's all Luz means. Early name of Bethel. So Bethel, the house of Elohim, where he sets up that pillar. And yeah, so it's the earlier, probably original name of when Jacob, he eventually, we'll see later on in Genesis, he actually calls that same place he set up the first pillar, where Jacob's ladder was, where he saw the angels. He's going to later call it Bethel. So it's just a region. It's a name of a place. It's the actual BDB Brown Drivers Briggs definition says almond tree. So it's like a name that means almond tree. So
in Spanish that word means light, luz.
Oh yeah. I think that's similar, but in the Hebrew, in Latin, luz is a prefix for luz, Lucifer, library, in Latin it probably means light,
like brightness too.
In the Hebrew, light is actually, I think it's similar in the Hebrew, but I think it's not loose. It's actually L-U would be light in the Hebrew. That's why Lucas or Luke, the apostle, the disciple Luke, his name means enlightenment, or I forget what the Hallelujah Scriptures defines as his Hebrew name, Lucas, what it defines. I think it means like enlightened or illuminating. So that it could mean that. Let's see here, but according to L-U-Z, it just means a name of a place, actually a name of a town in the land of the Hittites. So that's exactly where he was in this chapter. So that's pretty accurate. So I don't know. There's not much meaning to it in the Hebrew other than almond tree. That's the only thing I'm seeing here. Name of two places. Let me see here. I wonder what this is called in the Septuagint instead of luz. They do call it luz. Okay, lam luz. That's interesting. Ulam luz. So that's kind of interesting. It's not just luz. It has like a little bit more to that name in the Septuagint. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, he called that place the house of Elohim, and the name of the city before, meaning before, was Ulam Luz. So that kind of gives more of an understanding why Ulam Luz becomes Bethel. So I like how the Septuagint says the name of that city before was Ulam Luz. So that kind of gives more credence to that. He changed it to Bethel.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, you can? Okay, let me mute. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
No, it's okay, Sister Marie. No problem. Yeah, so Sister Marissa just read Genesis 28, and so this was Jacob's ladder chapter for anyone just coming in. So pretty much self-explanatory. He had a dream. He saw the angels of Elohim, as it says in here. And, Yahuwah made a covenant with him, and he made a pillar for Yahuwah. And in the last couple of verses, he says that Yahuwah will be a Elohim to me, which is kind of interesting. Sounds very reminiscent to where Paul quotes in Hebrews 10 about the new covenant. It's kind of interesting. And this stone which I have set up for a pillar shall be to me a house of Elohim. And of all whatsoever you shall give me, I will tithe a tenth for you. So there was tithing back then directly to the Father, which is kind of interesting too. So that's another thing I took away from this chapter. Direct tithing. Let me just see if Brother Dennis or Sister Sally have anything they wanted to add before we move on. I think we're going to do a chapter of Ayub also today. So anything you guys want to add, Brother Dennis, Sister Sally? I see Sister Sadie's with us too.
My cell phone's been knocking you off, and then I can't log back on.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Yeah, so I've been having, I started last night. So with Zoom. So I'm here, guys. I'm here.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure if you had anything to say, or Dennis or Sally had anything to say. If not, we'll move on to Ayub chapter 7.
Yeah, brother. Good. It's
all right.
good.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on, and we're going to see how much we can fit of Job chapter 7 here, since we have some time left over. All right. So we pretty much just read Genesis 28, everyone, and now we're going to go to Job chapter 7. Okay, and I think I'll read for us here. Let's see here. Job continues, my life has no expectation. Is not the life of man upon earth a state of trial, and his existence as that of a hireling by the day, or as a servant that fears his master, one who has grasped a shadow, or as a fairling waiting for his pay? Interesting. So have I also endured months of vanity, nights of pain have been appointed to me. Whenever I lie down, I say, when will it be day? Whenever I rise up again, I say, when will it be evening? Interesting. And I am full of pains from evening to morning. Little truth being put there, huh? Evening to morning. Showing the evening's coming first, in my opinion. And my body is covered with loathsome worms. So now he's like comparing himself to someone that's in Sheol. I waste away, scraping off clods of dust from my eruption. And my life is lighter than a word, and has perished in vain expectation. Remember then that my life is breath, and my eye shall not yet again see Tob. The eye of him that sees me shall not see me again, and your eyes are upon me, and I am no more. I am as a cloud that is cleared away from the sky, for if a man go down to the grave, he shall not come up again. Wow. And he shall surely not return to his own house, neither shall his place know him anymore. So anyone that believes in ghosts and all that, you might want to read Job chapter 7, verses 9 to 10 there. Anyone believing that you got a spirit in your home that's just a spirit of a dead relative, you might want to read Job 7, 9 to 10. Then neither will I refrain my mouth. I will speak being in distress, being in anguish. I will disclose the bitterness of my being. Wow.
Can I ask you?
Yep.
Mom, there's crazy stuff that happens at my house, and I refuse to believe it or even let it bother me. But what do you mean by go back and read that? Like, are you saying
people that believe that, like, if you got stuff going on, and like basically what people believe ghosts are demons. They're your relative that just passed away, Yahuwah takes their spirit. Their spirit's not gonna hang around. So that's what I mean by that statement I made. That I'll go back to that 2 verses though, but it clearly shows that once you go down to the grave, your spirit's not wandering. There's no unfinished business, is what I'm trying to say.
then there could be other spirits I would consider them demons. I don't think like my grandpa passed away, he's in the house still haunting or, haunting us. I don't believe that. But is there demons that are in there? Could there be demons?
Yeah. I believe demons latch on to people. There's familiar spirits that the enemy assigns to people when they become a believer. And if, especially if you have a family member that might have not been, really grounded in scripture, hypothetically speaking, and they, demons are always hanging around. I grew up in a house that I do believe there was demons because there was, in my situation, my opinion, the way my family inherited the money to pay for the house being built was not exactly righteous. So there could have been, stuff like that can attract demons. So, I mean, in a way, yeah, there's some people might have demons in their house that they're being deceived into believing it's the spirit of your dead relative. And a lot of times people that aren't believers like us, that are atheists, they'll say, oh, that's just the spirit of Uncle Johnny or whatever. No, that's a demon roaming around causing stuff to happen, making you afraid and stuff like that. And sometimes people will they'll go to diviners and stuff like that, and they'll go to these people that do seances, and they'll try to inquire about that. And sometimes the people doing the seance will even tell you, Johnny is just letting me know, just move the picture frame a certain way and he'll leave you alone. And then you have given that demon precedence to stay in your home. So a lot of times if you go to these fortune tellers, they're actually working side by side with the demonic spirits. They're deceiving people into doing certain superstitious type of things. And then you have given that demonic spirit that's been causing you trouble, you've actually given them a open door into your life, into your home. And so that's what I believe happens when you see these shows, ghost hunters and all that. They're hunting demons. The ghost is nothing more than a spirit, an evil demonic spirit. Our modern culture has kind of made ghosts out to be, ghosts are not inherently evil. Ghosts can just be a spirit of someone that passed away, and that's why we get confused about stuff like that. It's because of modern culture, Hollywood, the way they portray ghosts. But in reality,
I have a question. Okay, so in a particular home, actually my mother's, there's a lot of activity goes on. Like we could be sitting down and something gets thrown. Things move, and it's I don't know what you can call it, but it happens a lot. And that's why I think that's where my daughter's asking, because I don't know what she feels. She just ignores it. But just the other day, we were sitting down, my mom, my granddaughter, myself, on the kitchen table, and it's part of the vacuum was flying, So I just kind of my mom goes, "That's nothing. We have Jesus in our hearts, and nothing can harm us."
Yeah.
And my granddaughter got a little scared, but I didn't get scared. I mean, I'm not going to fear any of that,
Yeah,
but,
I definitely believe you can't allow it to keep happening. If there's demonic activity going in anyone's home, and I'm speaking for anyone here,
like opening, right? Like maybe opening doors.
Yeah, if you're, and that's the thing, any type of open doors can open spirits into your home. So any type of sin that you're struggling with could be causing that, or anything. It could be, it could be, familiar spirits that were around the person that died. Those familiar spirits don't depart. when the person's spirit is taken up into heaven by the Father awaiting the judgment. When you die and you go down to the grave, Scripture says, King Solomon himself in the book of Ecclesiastes says that Yahuwah took the Ruach that he gave to that body. So he has the Ruach of your family member waiting for, basically we all wait for the judgment seat of Messiah. Each and every person has died, whether they know it or not. And if you're listening to it right now, what I'm saying, you're not ignorant anymore. There is going to be a day of judgment and a great white throne judgment seat. So anyone that's listening, you're not ignorant anymore. There's no way that was my point, is that if you feel like you got spirits going around in your home, that's a serious thing. That's demons causing you harm. Those are demonic spirits, and according to extra biblical literature like Enoch, that's their purpose. Their purpose, because they're envious of us, because we can eat, they can't. They're basically immortal spirits that can't. There's nowhere for them to go. They're in between the spiritual realm and the earthly realm, and they have no allotted place to go. When the giants died, their spirits stuck around, and that's what demons are. They're outer-bodied spirits of the Nephilim. So these evil entities have nowhere to go. So and they're envious of us for reasons. So they, out of spite, they're causing us harm. So I would suggest, if you see a lot of activity like that, don't ignore it. I would suggest prayer. Whoever's the family member of the house that owns the house that's getting attacked by these entities, I have as many believers as you have in the family to pray to the Father, pray to the Son to remove these entities from your home. Because it's not good just to let it go. Let it go could just be giving the demon precedence. And I know that for a fact because a former Satanist turned Christian pastor, his name is Stephen Dollins, has attested to that as a second witness. He has attested to that. When you allow that entity to stay there and you allow it to keep doing what it's doing, you're giving it an open door. You're giving it, basically like, okay, you can stay here and do whatever you want. So
the only issue I have with that is my grandmother had somebody come in and pray, like the Christians come in and pray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seemed like nice, but so I hear once you try to cast them out, they come back 7 times harder. I don't want to mess with it because my grandma's a Christian, but she's okay with certain things, and she loves Disney, and so I have all that in the house. So it's like,
oh man,
I kind of I don't like for my mom, my niece, they'll jump and they'll be like, oh my god, like it's here, like my mom's actually had to call the cops one time to get her out of that house because it was choking her. I mean, but I don't let it, I'm like, you're not gonna mess with me. Forget you, you know what I mean? Because I sit there alone, on the weekend. There's just my grandma and I'm like, you're not gonna mess with me. I just, I kind of really don't let it mess with me. Because I don't want to keep bringing more powerful guys to come in.
Yeah.
I let it go. I just okay.
Yeah.
You're not messing with me. I just don't let it get to me.
I would just suggest you guys, as much as you could, try to get as many believers in your family over there and to try to do your best to the situation of getting that demon out of there. Now, as far as the 7 spirits come back, Yahusha's not saying that if you cast a demon out, that 7 more spirits are going to come back. That's talking about a wicked person that basically is a dog returning to his vomit, and 7 spirits return to that empty habitation and comes right back. So it's like talking about someone that's not really converted. A real believer is not going to cast a demon out and 7 are going to come back to them. He's talking about someone that's basically a person walking in sin, basically. He's not talking about like a true believer obeying him, having true belief in him. He's not talking about that. So I want to make that clear, that context of what he's talking about, the 7 spirits coming to that same place that the 1 spirit left. I don't believe that's talking about a true believer. That's talking about someone that maybe was a believer, returned to their vomit again. It's because demonic spirits are attracted to sin. They're attracted if any type of sin can lead an open door. I guess that's the point I was trying to make. So the demonic spirits usually hang around people that, obviously us believers, we have familiar spirits that we constantly are fighting, but to get rid of 1 spirit and then have 7 more come back, I think there would have to be something provoking that. There would have to be a reason he's using a situation of a habitation for a demon leaves and 7 more come back. I think even in that context, he's talking about it's at a worse situation than it was before, meaning, falling away possibly is the context. Someone that's a believer gets a demon cast out, but then they fall back and fall back into their own wicked deeds that they used to do, and then they fall completely away would make the most sense. Why there would be quadruple the amount of demons that there was before in that vessel. So that
I don't 100% walk with Yahuwah. I work on Saturday, and so I don't walk the complete walk. So then I would want to be careful.
Yeah.
And listen, brother. Also, if you're watching, I think right now Hallmark just had their first series for lesbians getting married, and they have a lot of Christmas stuff. So there's a lot of ho 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 going on. So when you hear ho ho ho, that also calls out spirits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yes.
you got to be very careful what you hear in your ears and guard your ears.
Well, unclean spirits they usually operate on legalities, and maybe whoever lived there before you or somebody who has lived there with you or since then, if you don't close those legalities and cast them out, the unclean spirits out, you can close their legalities, cast them out and go around and anoint your property, the inside of the house, like the windows and the doors and the walls and so forth, with olive oil. You take a new fresh bottle of olive oil and some cotton balls, and you go around and you put a dot on it, on the oil on the cotton ball, and then you press it on the door, and you go around and you close. First of all, you cancel all the legalities, and you go around and anoint the house and the property and cast all of them out, and they should have no more right to come in there.
You have to close the doors. You have to be repentant and close the doors. And
legalities.
And what Doug was talking about earlier about 7 spirits, that's if the person, when the house is swept clean, you fill your house with righteousness. You fill your house with the word of Yahuwah. You read scripture and you learn. And if you don't do that, like Doug said, if you don't do that and there's wickedness there, that attracts the evil spirits right back.
Mm-hmm. The reason...
an unbeliever, like my mom believes and she prays to Jesus. She doesn't like the name of Yahuwah. She won't allow Yahuwah stuff in her house. She's very anti-Yahuwah, but that's where my daughter lives. So it's very hard because my mom does, she watches her Hallmark. That's what keeps her going, because my dad died. Loves that. She doesn't know any better. You know what I mean? She's not going to understand.
And that's another thing, sis, you got to be careful about is stuff like Disney in there, like your daughter Maria was speaking about before. Stuff like that can be open doors. I hate to say it, Disney and stuff like that is very satanic. The person that created Disney had a spirit in him that was very evil. Walt Disney was a very wicked man. So just the fact that the creator of that stuff, you know, that made those cartoons and stuff, he had an agenda and had an evil agenda in him. I mean, you know, a lot of Christian ministries have been exposing Disney for a while now. And because they see it, Christian pastors see it, like, you know, that are trying to obey what they know to obey from the scriptures. They see what's going on with the whole sexualizing children and hidden messages, and, you know, The Little Mermaid has it. You know, a lot of these cartoon movies that look fine for children are not. They're putting hidden messages in there and trying to get them sexualized early, trying to get them defiled early. And, you know, so that could be even an open door depending on what you have in the home, too. Whatever thing you have in the home that could be an open door. You know, it could be.
Yeah, I think statues of Disney, like $500 with the statue, like a statue, like $500. I have over.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to see here. We kind of went on a little tangent here, so I'm going to see how much we can finish. I might have to do a second recording to finish Job chapter 7 here. Let me see here. So we left off at verse 9 and verse 10. That's what came with this side conversation, talking about that when someone dies, their spirit does not return to where they lived. So basically, you know, there's no such thing as Uncle Johnny is still there. That's how this conversation came about. Therefore, I will not refrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my being. And am I a sea, meaning am I an ocean or a whale that you set a watch over me? So now Job is like talking to Yahuwah. Why are you so concerned about me? Why are you always watching me? When I say my bed shall comfort me, my couch shall ease my complaint. Then you scare me with dreams and terrify me through visions, so that my being chooses strangling and death rather than my life. I loathe it. I would not live always. Let me alone, for my days are vanity. Sounds like Solomon there. What is man that you should magnify him? Let me see what the Septuagint says there. Okay. Well, for what is man that you have magnified him, or that you give heed to him? Will you visit him till the morning and judge him till the time of rest? So, time of rest. Interesting. So that's telling you rest at evening time. You know, Sabbath rest. Interesting. Just saying. How long do you not let me alone, nor let me go until I shall swallow down my spittle? If I have sinned, what shall I be able to do? O you that understand the mind of men, why have you made me as your accuser, and why am I a burden to you? Why have you not forgotten my lawlessness, and purged my sin? But now I shall depart to the earth, and in the morning I am no more. So Job again is going down this downward slope, even questioning why Yahuwah has made him this way, which we see in other scriptures. That's not a